filmmaker has always been ahead of his time.
Time, stop!
Go. Now, Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis.
Yo, what's up? What's up? We're back. Real reviews.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Himself, the executive producer, the man of the hour. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling, bro?
Yo, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. You know, this movie. I'm glad we were able to talk about this. I feel like this is the perfect pair for this type of film to have this discussion. How you feeling, sir?
Yeah, I'm blessed, bro. It felt like it's been forever since I did a pod with you, man. I feel like
it's been a minute.
Taking you away from me, yo. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, man. You life be life, man. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. Yeah.
Mother, but yeah, I definitely was excited about seeing this film because you and I are both cinephiles and we both have an appreciation for this writer director. You know, I was like, yo, I gotta give him. This is supposed to be his magnum opus, so I'm like, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance, even though I don't know what the hell the movie's about. I mean, from the trailer. You know what I'm saying? It didn't give us nothing.
It didn't give you nothing. It didn't give you nothing. It didn't give you nothing. So, and that's why I'm gonna go ahead and break it down before we get into it. So the synopsis, as IMDb has, of course, the name of the movie is Megalopolis. The city of New Roman is in a main conflict between Cesar Catalina, a brilliant artist in favor of a utopian future, and the greedy mayor, Franklyn Cicero. And in between them is Franklyn's daughter, Julia Cicero, who is, her loyalty is divided between her father and her beloved Cesar Catalina. So that is what this is about. Of course, the trailer, it gave you nothing, which I appreciate because, you know, a lot of these trailers be giving you way too much. Yeah. And so this was something that you showed us a trailer a while back, but then there was also some information about how Francis Ford Coppola, who is the writer and director, this was his baby. I read that he had actually wrote this years ago, and he finally got a chance to get it to the screen. He just rewrote it, and he's finally able to get a screen. And he put his own money into it. I think I read up to $120 million of his own money. Yeah, that's but I guess I don't know if nobody would get behind it or if he just was like this it's got to be my own money so I can do it exactly the way I want. I'm really interested to get to to find out more about that. Yeah, but let's go ahead and talk it out. Give me your initial impression.
My initial impression was the trailer looked beautiful. It looked gorgeous. It had so many interesting little tidbits that dragged me in. The opening, the scene that the trailer opens on with him walking out onto this skyscraper's like roof thing, and then him stopping time. I was like, okay. I said, all right, maybe we got a little Matrix vibe going. And there was a scene where the buildings are like statues are moving. So I'm like, okay, maybe we in a different dimension. It was just so much. It seemed like there was science fiction and fantasy kind of blending into the same thing. And you had, obviously a film full of like seasoned, legendary actors and actresses in here. So I was like, bruh, like, you know what I mean? I can see how this man is really putting his all into making this a masterpiece. And I was truly excited to see how all these pieces came together to create this piece of art. So that's my initial impressions.
I'm with you on that. So I saw the same trailer you saw. And when I saw that moment of him stopping time, hanging off the building a little bit, I was like, oh, okay. And I wasn't expecting when I hear Francis Ford Coppola's name, I wasn't expecting that. So that was a shock to me. So that piqued me. That piqued me. I'm like, because you know what, when you hear Francis Ford Coppola, you think about the one of the greatest films he ever made was The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that, I was like, oh, Okay, all right. So it definitely intrigued me, which is why we're sitting here tonight. I was like, I don't know what this is about, where it's going, but if Francis Ford Coppola's putting his own money into it, this is supposed to be his like magnum opus, like you say, his baby. I need to know. I need to know.
I need to know. I need to see it. I need to experience this. You know what I mean? I feel like he's done enough in his career for me to give him the levity of, yo, here's my $20 or my $30 and like show me what you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I if you don't mind, I would like to go first with my highs and lows.
Please.
Okay, all right. So highs, automatic offer. We know it was a beautiful movie. Everything looked great. It was phenomenally shot. They were actually able to cast it very well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would never say no to this man. So it seemed like he just had to pick of the litter. You were just getting, Adam Driver plays your lead. You got Giancarlo Esposito, who's just been booming in everything he's touched over the last decade or so. Nathalie, Emmanuel, Aubrey, Plaza. they even had Shia LaBeouf. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? John Voight, Laurence Fishburne. And then one of the characters I just because of her history with him with The Godfather was Talia Shire, who also played Adrian in Rocky. You know what I'm saying? When I was just seeing all of these faces, and I was just like, wow. Everybody's performance was great. There was never anybody who I felt like slipped, and there was never anybody whose character I felt like took me out of it. I was fully invested in what was being presented to me, and that was a high for me. I was just soaking it all in. Everything I got was beautifully done. All the acting was great. Another high for me, I would have to say, was that I'm trying not to spoil. Okay. I had to catch myself. I have to
spoil this one tonight, player.
Damn, I think watch to be like, these guys just can't help it. These guys just can't help it. But okay, so I'm not going to spoil. But there were certain characters that I felt like everybody was casted properly. There were certain people that played roles. You were like, yo, this fits. And I'm not gonna say no names or nothing, but I'm like, yo, this really makes sense of. It was just casted perfectly. There were certain vibes to certain characters and certain things, and there was little subliminal messages I was pulling from it. But it was right. It made sense, and I'm just gonna say it at that. Leave it at that. All right. So I'm gonna start trickling into my lows though, because unfortunately for me, I have more lows than I have highs. The biggest low for me was that this movie, even though it warned us at the very title that it is a fable, so we know it's more like it's super fiction. So okay, that made sense for a lot of stuff to not really fully add up. But there were things that were presented to gain my interest, but then they were forgotten about, and then I had to wait. Like in the first 5 minutes, you gained my interest with the time stop thing, which was in the trailer. But then we go away from that, and I understand we need to develop these characters and these stories, but then it takes an hour before something else happens in the plot that pulls me back in again. And then when that moment happens, it's resolved in like 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. And then it goes back to, again, this core story. And then as I'm watching and I'm realizing this futuristic sci-fi, these elements that are in there, that has nothing to do with the story that they want to tell. It has nothing to do with the story that they want to tell at all. What we've been getting in the first hour, and what is continuing in the second hour, and then going into the last act, this is the story. And that's a low for me because it's beautifully done, but it is such a basic story that it's just got a whole bunch of fluff around it. And it was a little disappointing because after waiting, I was waiting and I was loving everything I was getting visually, and I was loving certain characters. The payoff at the end, in my opinion, wasn't enough. There was too much that was like sprinkled in there, but forgotten. They never built on it. They never went back to it. I felt like they were big big opportunities, you know, and there now that's another low for me is like, there were so many characters that you were really bringing to the foreground, and then they would just disappear, and then they would pop back up, and they would disappear. Now, granted, all of those characters at some point, most of it did tie together, but like I said, for it to be as long as it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, not including the previews, what we finally got to was not a big enough payoff for that. To me, the story wasn't strong enough to sit through all of that. If I would have had to sit through that, and it would have really given me just this big wow, and then like, okay, I see now. I see. I didn't get that, and even though it was great visually, and there was really strong things about certain characters and the people they had play them that I loved, ultimately as a whole, I just felt like, did I really need to put myself through this? You know, so that's where I'm at with that, sir. How are you feeling with your highs and lows?
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing all of that. You know what I mean? Super important elements. What I'm trying to get. All right, you can't do this. I don't make me laugh. I'm trying to.
All right, let's go.
Trying to be a serious movie reviewer, okay?
Okay, I got you, my man.
Before this all falls apart. All right, but okay. So if we say highs and lows, highs, agreed, beautiful, cinematography, beautiful, all the people in the film, beautiful, the acting, the monologues are executed really well. If I were to say I would have a low with the monologues, is that at certain points the music was so loud that it was overtaking some of the stuff that was being said, or there are scenes where, you know, you're really close to the person doing the monologue and then they'll move away. So what they'll do is you can't hear it as well because, you know, obviously they want to play it like you can only hear it if, you know, if you're close by or whatever. And I would thought that was a bad idea. You got these guys, they are literally pouring their hearts out, you know, giving these really strong performances. And then you're just kind of like, and I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? Like, I didn't read Greek mythology. I didn't read Marcus Aurelius, and you know what I'm saying? So there's these great moments where I'm like, man, these people are really delivering something deep. And then like the audio kind of thing that kind of took me out a little bit. And it was very frustrating at times. Number two thing I saw was a high was, you know, I always respect risk takers, people that are willing to, I give a wild example. My one Thanksgiving, my brother decided he was going to cook a whole chicken. This nigga took he took grapes and put the grapes inside of the strawberry. And I was like, nigga, that's crazy. What the fuck are you doing? You don't put no grapes inside of a chicken. You know what I'm saying? And he cooked that shit and that shit was fucking delicious. Like, wild shit. You know, sometimes you got to take a risk.
Right.
You put two things together that don't really go together. But my brother's truly an insane person. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's a hit or miss. In this film, this exact kind of thing going on. It's like so many, like, okay, so, you know, the new state of Rome, you know, we're obviously we're in America. I mean, I don't think that's a giveaway. I don't know. I hope I'm not ruining whatever, but you know, they're kind of like saying that Rome and America are kind of like parallel, or in this film, they represent the same thing. And then all of these characters have these Roman names and there's all of this different stuff going on. I thought that was a beautiful parallel. I kind of understood the layering of what he was trying to say, his message as an artist that he's trying to present to the world. I was kind of getting it. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit ego driven and say I did get it.
Okay.
Problem is that I got it and I kept seeing, well, why do we need all of this? Why do we need all of that? Like, you're doing too much, bro. And then like, you just said, you were like, yo, he rewrote it recently. It felt like that. It felt like there's two different tones fighting against each other.
Word.
So, and as you were talking, I'm thinking maybe he didn't do a complete rewrite. Maybe he just went to certain areas and was like, all right, so let's say the first half of the paragraph or the first half of the page was written 25 years ago. And then
Right.
the last 3 paragraphs or the last 2 paragraphs, he just etched out and then like updated it. And then it's like because you can kind of see conflicting themes, you can see conflicting, even like artistic expressions of the same thought conflicting with each other. You know what I mean? I feel like I felt like this the whole movie, that he was doing this by himself. This is my vision. This is what I want to do. And no matter, you can only understand this if you have a great relationship with your parents and your parents are in their 80s and they're, a little losing it a little bit. They could be very solid in the first 20, 30 minutes of a conversation. And then, random shit will come out and they'll start being a little confusing and then they'll click back in and they could be sharp as a tack. This film kind of did that. It kind of went out there and then it would snap back into something great. And then it would go back out there and another great thing I'm gonna say, because I was just expressing a low. I was trying to stay focused on the good stuff. Man, the graphic work, the graphic designs and all of that was so beautiful, man. It was so much beautiful stuff. There was so many impressive feats of filmmaking in this that I'm looking at moments and I'm going, oh, somebody's gonna take this little thing and they're gonna boom, they're gonna make something happen. He took so many risks and he tried so many new things in this film. Just little graphics or little shots, experimenting on different shots and stuff, that I was like, man, like you are so far ahead of your time with this idea, but it's so confusing because it all doesn't tie in together properly. You know what I'm saying? Or it's too much of the same thing and you're being very heavy-handed with it.
Right.
Now, that's about as much as I can think of on highs. Lows, way too long. Way too long. This story did not require so much. There were so many unnecessary scenes. There was so much unnecessary back and forth. I felt like there were too many stories going on at the same time. And they weren't being understood. That there were probably 1, 2, 3, 4. There were like 4 or 5 separate storylines going on at the same time. They weren't being managed well. And even though they tried to tie it all together towards the end, it was a jumble, man. It was such a jumble. And it kind of fell across the finish line on itself and just ended. And I was like, to me, it's like, he tried to shoot for the moon the first 2 parts of the film and then flubbed it on the ending. And it was just like, bro, did you really spend all of this time with these lofty ideas and these lofty so you could end it like this? Even there was an issue between 2 of the main characters that it came to a head, and there was a letter that was supposed to be given to the other. And so I'm trying not to give nothing away. It was like, fuck that, you know what I mean? And it was just like, what, you know what I mean? And to me, I was like, you have really put this film into a good space. Okay, we have not necessarily the other conflicts weren't real, but this would have had really impactful consequences if it followed through with that. But I guess the weight of so many other separate stories fell into this the same way buildings started falling into each other in this film. You know what I'm saying? That it all got jumbled up. Even though some of those monologues I loved, a lot of them were unnecessary. A lot of the storyline is incomprehensible. You know what I mean? This reminds me, and like, Lost in Translation is a complicated story because it's so it's glacially slow and it's very detail oriented, but everything was there for a purpose.
Right.
And if you allow the glacial thing to go through and you get to the ending, it's a creative piece of art and you really get it. And especially when you watch it the second go around, it could be great. This film ain't that. This moves at a glacial pace, and I feel like it's moving at a glacial pace because it's like it's an artist jerking off on screen. and just getting it off a couple of times, boom, 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 boom. And there's no like, you ain't trying to get the girl pregnant. You just trying to literally, this sounds really vulgar. Let me not use this anymore. But it seems like it's so much going on, man. And I was rooting for the film.
Right.
Another low is that there may have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the theater at the beginning of the movie. At the end of the movie, it was me and two other, and me and a couple. That was it. People kept like getting up. There was like a couple to my left, like 3 seats down. They got up, they left. Another couple got up, they left. People got, and I was just like, damn. And I was like, man, I wish I could be with them. But I'm also the type of person where I want to see it through to the end. Not only just for the review, but I'm like, bro, you taking me this far. I want to see. I really want to see where this is going to go.
Right.
So, like that's a low, man. Like, yes, I understand that people should be able to express themselves in their art, and you putting $100 million up, that's cool. But a film is about entertainment as well. And I understand that he's trying to inform us and he's trying to be creative, but I am also here to be entertained. Like, or if this is not an entertainment and this is a thesis on the human nature and the development of humankind, then tell me that. And then I can come in with a suit and tie on, and then we can get high school kids in here, which we can't because there's titties and crotch in all of the film, which was crazy. It was man crotch, disgusting. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
everything.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Without ruining the thing and us being shamed by Ron, that's about as much as I can say without blowing my top. You know what I mean? Right. I kept thinking to myself, how can somebody who was able to construct The Godfather not see all the flaws in his own film? How could you have done? I mean, you've done so many films,
right?
I mean, like, yo, how could you have missed? How did you? I mean, there were so many huge misses. I mean, amateur mistakes that I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Too many big set pieces that didn't add up into anything. Too much little pitter pattering everywhere. Too much artsy, expressionist. I'm seeing stuff on the screen and I'm like, why the fuck do we need this?
Right.
Well, why is that? Like, I don't need this. Like, wasting time. You know what I mean? There's even a 20 to 30 minute scene at a gathering. And what is this for? Like, I mean, it was a big to do in the film. And then even after the fact, there's residual effects of it. But it was like, we ain't need all that. You could have just, I could have done this in 2 minutes instead of us requiring this whole deep thing. I don't know. So anyway, at the end of the day, go ahead. You was about to say
I was gonna say it says that he actually wrote this, and I think the problem is that, like, the reason he's not saying is because he was too close to it. They said they actually wrote this in the 80s. He wrote this in the 80s and he didn't get back to it until he didn't start redeveloping it again until 2019, and now here we are with the finished product.
It makes so much sense.
Right.
It makes so much sense because I know you are like me in the theater going, I feeling Clockwork Orange. I'm feeling, there's so many little elements that I'm from like 70s and 80s films that I was like, why the fuck? No, this doesn't work in this time period. This thing is not working. Like if this was, if we were doing, we were going doing Austin Powers or some shit like that, some of these scenes would have fit, but this is not it. And by doing certain scenes, you're taking away from the legitimacy of not only the film, but of the character that you're trying to develop. Even if you're trying to, I know that they're trying to establish a flaw within the character, but that's not the way you go about it. Because now there were so many times where I'm like, you're confusing the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all can go from, it's like dialogue goes from plain spoken to really theological and deep. And I'm like, yo, the average, I'm educated, private school and college. even I'm slipping on like, all right, I get it, but I'm saying, who the fuck is this? Oh, yeah. Now, what the fuck did he mean when he's out? It's like, yo, it was too much. The layman person is not going to attach to all of this. You have to find a way to translate it. And they did try to do certain things with like plaques and, you know, you have your narrator coming in, you know, he's saying certain stuff, but that wasn't working either. Right. So the whole film ends up being confusing at a lot of different points. And then once you stumble through the film with a bad coke habit and flop at the end of the film, you know, and everybody's standing around waving and shit, you go, what the fuck did I just see? And how the fuck did we get here? Like, so yeah. It hurt my feelings, bro.
It hurt my feelings too. And I was watching, when I was watching and I was seeing all of these people, these great talents that were part of it. That was another thing that kept me pushing through today. And I was like, they had to have seen in their read what we're seeing now. There must be something great. It must be a big payoff coming. But what I started thinking was The Offer. Remember, everybody thought that The Godfather was not going to work. The public didn't want that kind of script. It ended up being one of the highest grossing films of all times at the time. And I'm thinking everybody's like, you know what? I don't know what I'm reading here, but I'm going to jump on board because this could be the next Godfather.
Yo, if you take every scene by itself, you think this is the greatest shit ever. Like, if you were to blow this film apart into scenes and just gave us pieces and like didn't connect it to nothing else, you'd be like, oh, this is what's this? This is some shit. Like, but then once you put it together, you go, oh, this is some shit. Oh, this stinks. Like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And that's like, so that's the only reason why I wasn't mad at the actors and the actresses, because you know, I mean, especially, you know, Adam Driver, and you know, I mean, he's got so many, his dialogue scenes are so, you know, weighty and meaty, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna want to be the lead of this film, man. What the fuck you got me doing? This is Shakespeare. This is, you know, 2024. I get to, you know what I'm saying? He gonna be like, man, fuck Denzel and them niggas. I'm the new mother, you know, blah, like. Yeah, he just didn't know everything else.
Let's go with it. He's just like, he was seeing the opportunity to show all types of range and elements. He was being, it was an actor's role.
Yo, for real. This was a part of a lifetime, just in the wrong film. For real. Like, I mean, if somebody had given it to me and said, Jay, I want you to play this, I would be like, I would not want to ruin your film, my guy. Like, this requires way too much range and I don't have it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even be able to stay serious that long. You know what I mean? So like, you know, and I would say that even every part, even down to the minuscule smaller parts, I really feel like they brought so much seriousness to the film, and you can see the respect level they had for the art and the director. You know, everybody came in here with bringing the A game, and I respect that. Can we get to the review now?
Hey, let's do it. Let me go ahead and bring it up for you.
All right, go ahead, do your thing. And it's time for a real review from you and from us. Is this a classic, a good watch, a catch on streaming, not doing it for me, or is it a oh hell no? Or if you ever show me this ever again, I will. You. All right, if you're watching, drop your comments below. And if you're watching, enjoy the team's reviews. What do y'all feel like, guys?
All right, bro. So you want to go first with this one?
Yeah, motherfucking right, I do. Hold up. I got to do my job properly. Let me pull up the sounds. I ain't even get the sounds together. How dare I? If you ever in your life try to God damn it, motherfucker.
Yo, that's funny. I let me tell you, I didn't think you was gonna go that low. I knew I knew you was headed that direction, but I thought you was gonna be one step above it. Yeah, well, I'm right there with you, man. There's no way I'd ever sit through that again. There's no way I would recommend anybody to go see it. I mean, of course, if you want to form your own opinion, we welcome it, and then come back in the comments and let us know what you thought. You know, we did a great job not spoiling, so there is a lot to still take in. But I would never push anybody. Like if you go on your own free will, that's fine. I respect it. But this is I never want to deal with this again. If you ever show me this again, I'll slap.
Hell to the nah. Like, it's very rare that I'm watching something and I'm going, you have completely wasted my time, but they have literally wasted my time with this film. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and what makes it worse, it wasn't incompetence.
Right.
It was negligence. Like, yo, this required 3 or 4 more passes. This required a round table with writers to go. And somebody should have sat down with Francis and said, what are you trying to say? Okay, we have to find a better way to communicate this. This doesn't make sense. Okay, we need to scratch this. Or, hey, we need to retell this in a different way. Okay, we need to do this right. Like, he needed people that loved and cared about him and respected his vision to sit with him. And he needed to be humble himself enough to go, yo, come on, let's make this the best thing it could be. Because at the core of this film, there's a great idea. And there's a great message. It's just fucked. It's FUBAR 20 Ways from Sunday. So, like, what you end up with is a horrible, distasteful representation of hope.
Right.
And so, you know, that's all I gotta say.
No, I'm with you 1,000%, man. And it's unfortunate because I think we both were at the same point where we would have liked to have just walked out of there. But we, like you said, we wanted to see, you done brought me this far, see if it's gonna be worth it, see if there's some big payoff. And it was, unfortunately, it was just a complete waste of time. So
word. I was waiting for niggas to like the scene to go black and then come back. Psych, my bad, yo. You know we was just fucking with you. Here it is. Like, you know, I was like, I gotta stay to the end because if I come back and I tell you, man, fuck this, I just walked out. I feel like that would be disrespectful, you know, especially when I know people are gonna trash it. I really want to be able to but you know what's crazy? I kind of caught a review before I went to the theater, and they said it wasn't that bad. He's like, oh, it's a delightful film. And I was like, oh, okay. And that kind of gave me a little hope. Like, okay, it must not be that bad.
I feel like some people get blinded by the artsiness of it. So they feel like even though it's not what they want, they feel like they got to give it praise because it's a creative way of telling a story. It's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful. And I feel like that story still needs to be told well. And I feel like a lot of people that are going to go positive, that's just their fail safe for like I didn't get it, but it's artsy, so I respect it.
Right. And that was a huge fight I was having within myself because I'm literally sitting to myself going, maybe Jay, you just stupid. You know, maybe you just not educated enough. Maybe if I was upper crust, you know what I'm saying? Maybe if I grew up with money and I had a happy family and my family tried to kill me, you know what I'm saying, with middle-aged weapons, maybe this I would understand about it. Maybe if I was white, that was a moment when I was like, maybe I don't understand this because I don't have no whiteness in me. I pause. I don't have any Cockney blood, so I don't know. So but then I was like, nah, I'm not that stupid. I've watched way more complicated films and got it and understood it and was happy with it. No, there's nothing here that I missed. And if I did miss it, is it really my responsibility to sift through dog shit to try to find a gem?
Right. You should not have to. The story should be placed in a way where it's able to be received. We should be walking and tying things together and saying, or maybe this, or what if that? That's the signs of the story. The story was not presented well.
Nope, not at all. I would definitely, if you ever decided you wanted to trash this movie further, count me in. I definitely could use a discussion about this. That's only
we-
because good.
If we find somebody that actually really wants to give it high praise, then we did need to then have a spoiler discussion in it, and we need to hash that out. Like I need to know if you clickbaiting or you really seriously feeling that way. You know what I'm saying?
You got to really defend this. That's insane. I don't think we're gonna find nobody, bro, man. I think this is gonna be the general consensus. I pray that he can get a couple million back. But let me tell you something I'm surprised about. This weekend, last week, when I was booking the tickets for Megalopolis, I saw the Saturday Night Live film, and I tried to get tickets. In Maryland, it's sold out in every theater for the next 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
Every time slot, every location. And it's only in about 10 locations in Maryland. I looked in every location from DC to like Largo to Annapolis to Baltimore because I just want to see this film. It's sold out for 2 weeks straight. Every time slot, like there's no open tickets. That's insane. Crazy. So shout out to Saturday Night Live for kicking ass and taking names without a lot of people even knowing about it, you know.
Right.
So
and it's officially dropping on its anniversary. October 11th is the night that it aired all those years ago. The very first episode. So it's really symbolic. It's gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a great night. You had to come on down to Atlanta and watch it with me, man.
Okay. Can you get tickets? Look, you better see if we can get some motherfucking tickets first. Like,
the theater down the street from me don't nobody go to. It's in the sticks. So
okay.
I mean, it don't have no nice recliners. The nicest theater I have to drive further, but whenever I just want to watch something that's right down the street from the house, it's an old school theater, no recliners, whatever, and they always got seats.
That's crazy. I might have to come back with you because in Maryland, it came out this weekend, so it's out like right now.
Oh, you guys got it out like officially. It wasn't just a secret screening because here I don't have nothing until October 11th.
Nope, September the 27th, all of them sold out. So as wait a minute, no, this is October the 10th. Oops, my bad. So yeah, you're right. It's coming out, but why is it showing that it's released now?
There was some early screenings across the U.S.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, but October the 10th. Yep, it's not available. It's not available. So yeah, check it out and see if there's something available. I might have to catch a cheap flight or some shit like that.
Yeah, we'll figure that shit out, man. That's gonna be. I'm not gonna give it a rating, but that's gonna be worth a watch. I'll say that. I'm not gonna give a rating and then afterwards be like, "What you said."
Nah. I'm just I don't know the origin story of Saturday Night Live.
Gotcha.
So to me, my first interest was, wow, all right, I get to be entertained and at the same time, hopefully catch some, relevantly true information about the I'm always interested in anything that's got to do with entertainment behind the scenes. And for a show like they have, that you kind of doing a high wire act for an hour and a half, hour, maybe 2 hours every night. I mean, once a week for 50, 60 years, man, it's to be respected, bro. It's to be respected.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, there you guys have it. This was Megalopolis. You guys let us know in the comments what you thought. Let us know if you thought we was too brutal with our review. Let us know how you guys felt about it. If you watched the movie, or if this review is even gonna motivate you to watch the movie. We want to know all of that. All right, and if you guys are available, Black Watch Theater will also be happening on our Patreon. We are watching Queen and Slim Friday night, 8 p.m. this week. So hopefully you guys will join us, watch with us, laugh with us. We're looking forward to that. All right, so I'm Legacy Lingo's JS1. If you got nothing else, sir, peace.
Nope. Peace.
Real reviews, live and unapologetic.